Folks, I'm back, and the only thing I've done is I did sew out the border, and you can see it on the back side of the quilt here. It's all sewed out, and I also rolled my quilt so I can put in my next piece. Now some folks just call this chunking, and I prefer to chunk than to turn the quilt, and you know, it's 50-50 depending on who you are and what you want to do. I found that chunking is easy. So the thing is, how do you get it chunked in accurately so you don't have any problems? So the first thing I want to talk about is that this is my sew out, so it's red. That was my boundary that I placed, so I really don't need that boundary anymore. So I'm going to get rid of it. So to get rid of it, I'm just going to click on it and then push delete, so it's now highlighted in blue. And then I'm going to take my border that I have right now and move it up out of the way for now, because I'm going to use that border later. You can put a new border in, but I tend to grab it and rotate it and fit it back in where I need it. I do not flip it, because if you flip it, you may get your tie-offs on the wrong place. So when you flip things horizontally or vertically, if you're not sure which direction you're going in, you may have a problem. So for now, I'm just going to move that up out of the way. I'm going to take this bottom piece and bring it down, and then I'm going to take this bottom piece and bring it down, because I'm going to use this as my chunking piece as I go along. And if you notice, this piece has a start down here, but I want it to be up here. So I'm going to click it, right click, and I'm going to reverse my start and end so it starts at the top, because I want to sew down, not up. All right, this one should be okay, because as you knew, when you looked at the border, it sewed like this, so your start is at the top. But this one went up, so we had to change the start and end on this one. So I'm not going to work with this one right now, so I always reverse or toggle my pattern sewn, so I only have one black pattern on the screen at a time. So I'm going to start on my left hand side, and I'm going to put this pattern in. So the important thing is not to stretch your pattern out. You can go right and left, but you don't want to stretch this way, because if you do, now that 58 inches that I put in here is going to change, and we want to be careful not to do that. So I can widen it, but I can't lengthen it, okay? So let's go ahead and get ready to put this in. So draw a boundary is the first thing we want to do. I'm going to hit draw boundary, and so my laser is on, and it's very difficult. I should have put a darker thread in here to look at this, but I have a lot of light on this quilt. So I have a sage colored thread, but if you can see, I left a little piece of thread hanging here where my tie off was, because I want to know where that tie off is. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to draw a boundary from here around the piece that's already sewed in, and again, and then come all the way down to my belly bar and back. So let's start right here with these clickings. So I'm using my laser like a pen or a pencil, crayon, whatever you want to call it, and I'm just drawing around what's already there so I don't overlap it. Then I'm going to come straight out and then come down my borders. Okay, then I'm going back up. And remember, when we're doing a boundary, that we can stop before we get to our beginning point, and it will connect. Okay, now I'm exiting my drawing, and if you look on the screen, I now have where this piece needs to go in. Okay, so I can bump it right in there. I'm going to bring it over a little bit, because remember, I want that 1/4 inch on this side. All right, so what you wonder, well, how do you know if it's going to match up with the piece that's already there? So what I'm going to do is, I brought my draw line up over here. I'm going to turn it on. It's a point-to-point line. And I'm going to go, whoops, look at, we got our snap on. Let's turn that snap off for now. Okay, so I got my draw line. It's on, and I have my laser on. I'm going to go down to where I have this long piece of thread, and that was my tie off. And I'm going to put 3 little dots in there, just 3 little dots. And I'm going to start on the outside and work in the direction of sewing. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to get out of my drawing. And if you go and look on here, I've got to get in nice and close now. Okay, nice and close. You'll notice that there is where my tie off was for my last piece that was coming down. So now if I turn my snap on, and I want my snap to be on this piece, not that piece, okay? So we're going to go down here and get this turned, and then put my end snaps on there. Okay, so you know you can go through your F key or your keys, right? And there it is. I want that to snap over to this. So turn my snap on and then snap it over. There we go. So it's going to start sewing here and go in this direction. So before I start, I want to make sure I don't have an overlap here, which I don't. All right, it's snapped to where it needs to be here. I've got my side is nice and pretty, and if I could fit another piece in here, I would. I tend to do one at a time and sew as I go. And if I feel like I need to rotate this a little bit, I can do that. Now the last thing you need to do is you need to get rid of that snap line that you put in there, that point-to-point line, because it's a sewable line. So just draw a little box around it and push your delete button, and there you go. It's going to start here and end here, and then you have your piece in and you're where you're supposed to be. So now all I need to do is go to Quilt, start quilting. It's going to go to my little line. So if you look at this, nice and close down here, you can tell I'm going to use my scissors. There's my little piece. I'm right on it. It's going to start sewing and go in this direction and then sew around. And I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So you can't even tell that I started a new piece. Okay, so now here we go sewing. And pause it and cut your threads. Give a little pressure on those threads when you cut them so that the knot pops back in. And there we go. All right. Now pause it, and you're going to do that all the way down to the bottom. And when you get to the bottom, you're going to take this piece, turn it, and put it back in. Or you can mark your bottom just like you did the top, and you can make a whole new bottom piece to go in. So there you go. If you have any questions, give us a call at Threads Run Through It. Have a good day.